Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. An exciting new study out of Western State Uni is about to be defended for proposal. A local researcher is studying the problem of practice, which is addressing the issue of missing real-world skills in the domain of supply chain management in the college and university's curriculum. I recently sat down with the researcher, Derek Westfall, to discuss this fascinating study. Derek, thank you for joining us and sharing your invigorating proposal.
Adam, thank you for having me.
Now, Derek, first off, can you describe your problem of practice and what exactly is supply chain management?
Sure. The problem of practice is quite simply the missing skills, real-world skills in the academic setting in today's universities, especially in the domain of supply chain management. College graduates are coming out of college. They have the basic concepts of how supply chain management works, inventory management, warehousing, transportation, those sort of things. But they really miss the real-world skills, the day-to-day stuff that impacts them on their job.
Yes, the supply chain encompasses the global network used to provide products and services through design flow of information, physical distribution of products, and cash. The objective of supply chain management is creating net value while building a competitive infrastructure and matching supply with demand.
To illustrate the problem, we sat down with recent supply chain management graduate, Rachel Smith. Now, Rachel, did uni prepare you for the career that you have now?
Yeah, in some respects. I learned the theory of supply chain management and some of the basic fundamentals like forecasting, inventory management, supplier management, but it really missed on incorporating the skills necessary for the job using business systems such as ERP.
Were soft skills emphasized in your education in supply chain management, things such as problem solving or collaboration?
Yeah, so in groups, of course we needed to use those in group projects, but the importance was never relayed and why we needed good communication skills. So the way that I interact with the general manager of the plant versus how I interact with an assembler on the operations floor is going to be completely different and can affect the outcome of whatever I'm trying to propose. And also, to the end point, I need to know how to provide win-win solutions to those. And of course, those were needed, but they were never emphasized and definitely never graded.
To further illustrate the problem, I met with a supply chain manager. Dwayne, as an employer of supply chain management professionals, what are some of your biggest concerns as it revolves around the college students coming into the workforce?
So what we're really seeing is that graduates today have a pretty good grasp of all the different technical aspects of supply chain management, things like inventory management or making a warehouse more efficient, but they really lack the understanding of how all functions of supply chain management, sourcing and operations and logistics, are kind of all tie together to make everything whole and competitive. The other issue that I'm surprised, and it's a little bit frustrating, but a lot of graduates are not really coming equipped with the soft skills that are really needed for the profession. Things like communication. Some of our recent hires, they don't know how to communicate across different levels of of management throughout the organization.
Now, Derek, what is the overall purpose of the study?
Yes, Adam, the purpose of the study is to conduct a needs analysis to evaluate the degree to which the supply chain management program at WSU is meeting the goal of preparing the future supply chain professionals to exhibit the competencies aligned with supply chain management competency models of the domain. Analysis will focus on the knowledge, motivation, and organizational influences related to supply chain management, adjunct faculty's capacity to develop and implement curriculum via a promising practice called problem-based learning, or PBL.
Now, Derek, you just briefly mentioned something about problem-based learning. It's something that's known in your field as PBL. Could you expand on problem-based learning?
Yes, Adam. Problem-based learning is a student-centered pedagogy in which students learn about a subject by having the practice of solving open-ended problems. The problem-based learning process provides students the opportunity to develop soft skills such as collaboration, communication, and research skills. The professor is more of a facilitator than a lecturer.
Now, are there research questions to guide this study?
Yes, there are three central questions that guide this study. First, what are the adjunct faculty knowledge and motivation influences related to implementing a supply chain management soft skills aligned problem-based learning centered curriculum? 2. How does WSU's culture and contact either support or hinder adjunct faculty knowledge and motivation to implement a supply chain management soft skill aligned problem-based learning curriculum? And 3, what are the recommendations for organizational practice in the areas of knowledge motivation and organizational resources?
Now, is there a conceptual framework you'll be using for this study?
Yes, Adam, we'll be using the Clark and Estes framework.
Clark and Estes offer a methodical, analytic framework that clarifies organizational and stakeholder performance goals and pinpoints the gaps between the performance level and performance goal. Once the gap is discovered, the framework examines the stakeholder knowledge, motivation, and organizational influences for creating the performance gaps. This study seeks to explore knowledge, motivation, and organizational influences of the adjunct faculty at WSU to be able to implement an active learning methodology into the supply chain management curriculum at the university.
Derek, could you elaborate on the KMO influences of the study?
Sure.
The conceptual framework shows the interactions between the knowledge, motivation, and organizational influences that need to be addressed in order for the problem-based learning curriculum to be implemented into the supply chain management program at WSU. This study looks to understand the ways in which the adjunct faculty's knowledge, motivation, and organizational influences relate to each other in supporting the implementation of a problem-based learning methodology into the supply chain management curriculum at the university. This figure illustrates that all three elements, knowledge, motivation, and organizational, of the framework are related. The organization must address the organizational influences and utilize the adjunct faculty's knowledge and motivational influences. If this is done concurrently, it is more likely stakeholder achievement will occur.
Now, what type of methodology will be used to conduct this study?
Yes, this will be a qualitative study. What it'll consist of is about 8 to 10 interviews with WSU professors to get their thoughts on the KMO influences and ask probing questions to gather rich data. The document analysis will be reviewing course syllabi from the last 3 years, looking for any signs of active learning embedded into the course curriculum.
Okay, Derek, unfortunately that is all the time we have today, but I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your expertise, and I would love to hear more, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear more about the conclusion of your results coming up in the future.